Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Award Daily Golf Bulletin. I'm your host, Alieve Wenger, and we're here to give you all the insights you need to dominate Fantasy Golf Wednesday. Today's show is all about the DP World Tour's Ras Al Khaimah Championship, happening this week at the stunning Al Hamra Golf Club in the UAE. Joining me in the studio is a man who could probably analyze a golf ball's dimples for data if you let him, our resident stats expert, Statty. Statty, welcome to the show. How are you feeling about this week's event?
Good morning, Alieve. The Ras Al Khaimah Championship at Al Hamra is a fantastic venue, and there are some exciting players in the field. Let's dive into the numbers.
I knew you'd be ready to crunch those numbers. You're right. Al Hamra Golf Club really sets the stage beautifully. Between its wide fairways and those sneaky water hazards, it's a course that challenges players to bring their A game. And those Bermuda greens, they're always a talking point. What are you seeing in the data? Any key stats or trends we should watch out for heading into this week?
Al Hamra's layout is definitely going to test the players. The wide fairways might seem forgiving, but those water hazards and the Bermuda greens can be tricky. Looking at the data, strong iron players and those with solid approach shots should have an edge here. Also, putting on Bermuda greens can be challenging, so players with a strong putting record on this surface are worth watching. Keep an eye on those approach and putting stats. They'll be key.
Exactly, Statty. That's the balance Al Hamra demands. Those who can hit their irons tight and handle those greens are going to shine. It's no surprise that the approach game and putting are critical on a course like this. So let's talk picks. Who's your hot hand of the week? Is there someone trending upward statistically who you think can ride that momentum into a great performance?
One player to watch is Rasmus Højgaard. His recent form has been impressive, and he's got a great track record on demanding courses. His approach game is sharp, and if his putter heats up, he could definitely ride that momentum to a strong finish.
Great pick. Rasmus Højgaard is definitely one to watch. His consistency with approach shots is a real weapon, and if he can get the putter rolling on those Bermuda greens, he could be unstoppable. Now let's mix it up. How about a sleeper pick? Someone flying under the radar who could surprise us this week.
Khalid Samouja is a name to keep in mind. He's quietly consistent, strong in ball striking, and capable of a breakout week. He might just surprise us all with a top finish.
Samouja. Now that's an intriguing pick, Statty. He's definitely the type of player who can sneak up on a leaderboard, especially with that steady ball striking. If he finds a rhythm out there, he could turn a lot of heads. All right, let's get to the big one, your lock of the week. Who's your must-have player for fantasy lineups or the best bet for this tournament?
Patrick Reed is my lock of the week. He thrives in international events and has a knack for performing under pressure. He's a solid pick for an outright win or a top 5 finish.
Patrick Reed, what a solid call. His ability to handle the pressure and his experience in international settings make him a fantastic pick. Plus, his short game magic could really shine on those Bermuda greens. So, with those picks in mind, Højgaard as the hot hand, Samouja as the sleeper, and Reed as the lock, what's your strategy for betting this week? Are you leaning toward outright wins, top finishes, or maybe even a cheeky first-round leader bet?
I'm leaning towards a mix. Outright wins and top finishes are solid strategies, especially with a player like Reed. For Højgaard, a top 10 finish or a cheeky first-round leader bet could pay off. And for Samouja, a top 20 finish seems like a smart bet.
That's a smart approach, diversifying the bets while targeting players with different strengths. Reed for an outright win or top 5 is a no-brainer given his pedigree. Højgaard as a first-round leader, that's got excitement written all over it. And Samouja sneaking into the top 20 feels like a great value play. Looks like we've got a well-rounded strategy for the Ras Al Khaimah Championship. Before we wrap up, any final advice for our listeners as they lock in their lineups or place their bets?
Trust the data, but also trust your instincts. Look for value picks and don't be afraid to take a chance on a sleeper. And most importantly, enjoy the tournament. It's going to be an exciting week.
Wise words. Trust the data, trust your gut, and enjoy the ride. This week at the Ras Al Khaimah Championship is shaping up to be a thrilling one, so let's all sit back and soak in the action. We're shifting gears to focus on the Farmers Insurance Open, happening this week at the iconic Torrey Pines in San Diego. a tournament with a rich history and a course that's as beautiful as it is brutal. Torrey Pines is known for its tough setup, particularly the South Course. What kind of player thrives here? And what are the key stats you're looking at this week?
Torrey Pines South Course really rewards players with a powerful and accurate long game. Driving distance is crucial here, and those who can combine that with precision in approach shots have a real advantage. Putting is also key, as Torrey Pines greens can be quite tricky. It's all about balancing power with finesse.
Torrey Pines demands that perfect combination of power and precision. Bombers off the tee who can handle the lengthy par fours are definitely in for a good week. But you're spot on about the greens. Those Poa Annua surfaces can wreak havoc if you're not dialed in. Let's talk picks. Who's standing out as your hot hand of the week for the Farmers Insurance Open?
Will Zalatoris is definitely a standout for this week. His precision with irons and strong short game make him a great fit for Torrey Pines. After some strong finishes in 2024, he's coming in with momentum. He's definitely one to watch for an outright win or a top 5 finish.
Let's move on to your sleeper pick. Someone who might not be on everyone's radar, but could surprise us at Torrey Pines. Who's your must-have player for fantasy lineups, or the safest bet to contend for the win in San Diego?
For a sleeper pick, keep an eye on Sahith Theegala. His creative playstyle and explosive potential could make him a surprise contender at Torrey Pines. And for my look of the week, Will Zalatoris is the must-have. His strong finishes and precise game make him a safe bet for a top finish.
Sahith Theegala is such an exciting pick. His creativity and fearless approach can really shine on a challenging layout like Torrey Pines. And Will Zalatoris as the lock. That's a rock-solid choice. His ball striking is elite, and he's proven time and again that he can handle tough conditions. Now let's talk strategy. With a mix of heavy hitters and dark horses in your picks, how would you approach betting for the Farmers Insurance Open? Are you leaning towards outright wins, top 10 finishes, or maybe even some head-to-head matchups?
I'd go for a balanced approach, targeting outright wins for players like Zalatoris and mixing in top 10 finishes for consistent performers like Finau and him. Adding in a few head-to-head matchups can also provide good value, especially with sleepers like Theegala. It's all about spreading the risk while maximizing potential returns.
Smart strategy, Statty, a well-balanced mix that covers all angles. Zalatoris for an outright win makes sense given his consistent play on big stages, and targeting players like Finau and Im for top 10 finishes is a safe yet profitable move. And those head-to-head matchups with Theegala as a sleeper? That's a fun way to capitalize on his potential. Before we wrap up, any final thoughts or insider tips for our listeners as they finalize their lineups and wagers for the Farmers Insurance Open?
Trust your research and stay flexible. Look for value in lesser-known players and don't hesitate to take calculated risks. And most importantly, have fun with it. The Farmers Insurance Open is always full of surprises. Shane Lowry is one to watch, especially with his recent showcase of impressive shots. His ability to perform well under tough conditions and his strong short game make him a great contender for this week. He's worth considering for a top 10 finish or even a surprise standout performance.
Shane Lowry is always an interesting player to talk about, especially after his historic first shot at the TGL. Let's dive into it. Statty, let's talk about Shane Lowry. He's got a lot of momentum right now, and he's a fan favorite thanks to his incredible ball striking and creativity around the greens. Where do you see him finishing in the field at the Farmers Insurance Open? Could he be a contender, or do you see him as more of a solid top 20 finisher this week?
Shane Lowry's momentum and creative play definitely give him an edge. His ball striking and ability to navigate tricky greens make him a strong contender. I'd say he's a solid bet for a top 10 finish, with the potential to surprise everyone and push for an even higher spot on the leaderboard.
A top 10 finish for Lowry feels very achievable, given his current momentum and skill set. And you're right, if he gets hot with the putter, he could absolutely push for an even higher spot and maybe even contend for the win. Lowry's presence definitely adds more excitement to an already stacked field. This Farmers Insurance Open is shaping up to be a must-watch event. Shall we dive into some final tips?
Setting up a fantasy golf team is definitely on the radar. It's a fantastic way to stay engaged and dive deeper into the stats and performances each week. Have you had a chance to set up your own team, or are you considering joining in?
Absolutely, Stoddy. Setting up a fantasy golf team is a brilliant way to stay plugged into the action. It really gets you looking at the stats and tracking performances in a whole new way. I haven't set up my own team yet, but with all the insights you've shared today, I'm definitely tempted to jump in. If you were building a fantasy lineup for this week, who would be your core players, and how would you balance big names with value picks?
For a fantasy lineup, I'd anchor it with strong performers like Will Zalatoris and Tony Finau, given their consistency and fit for Torrey Pines. For value picks, I'd look at players like Sahith Theegala and Smalley, who have potential for breakout performances. Balancing big names with value picks can provide stability while offering a chance for high rewards. It's all about finding that balance between reliable performers and those with potential upside.
That's a smart approach, Statty. Building a lineup with a strong foundation of reliable performers like Zalatoris or Finau, while sprinkling in high upside picks like Theegala and Smalley, is the perfect balance. It's a mix that gives you consistency while keeping the door open for breakout performances. With that strategy in mind, any final tweaks or lineup advice for fantasy players before they lock in their picks for the Farmers Insurance Open?
One final tip. Consider the course conditions and how players perform in similar environments. Look for players with strong recent form and those who have a history of performing well on tough courses like Torrey Pines. And don't be afraid to trust your gut on a sleeper pick. Sometimes those calculated risks can really pay off. Good luck to everyone with their lineups.
Brilliant advice. Focusing on players with strong recent form and proven performance on tough tracks like Torrey Pines is key. And trusting your gut on a sleeper pick adds that extra edge. Those calculated risks can definitely make the difference in fantasy golf. Thanks for those insights, Stoddy, and good luck to everyone building their lineups this week. This Farmers Insurance Open is going to be a fantastic ride. All right, we've got a treat for everyone. Joining us now is Davey, a longtime listener and avid golf fan, who's calling in with a question for Stoddy. Davey, welcome to the Award Daily Golf Bulletin. It's great to have you on the show. What's your question for Stoddy?
Oh, it's great to be here, Alieve. I have to say, it's a real pleasure to be speaking with you this morning. I never thought we'd get this far, but here I am, live on the show. My question for Stoddy this morning is all about Shane Lowry. I think after his first shot at the TGL 2 weeks ago, and as well that remarkable shot we saw circulating online this week, we must ask the question, is Lowry a real tip for this tournament? He's the captain of my fantasy team.
Shane Lowry is definitely a solid pick. His experience and ability to perform in tough conditions make him a strong candidate for a top finish. With his recent form and the confidence from his remarkable shots, he could definitely be a real tip for the Farmers Insurance Open. Making him the captain of your fantasy team sounds like a smart move.
All right, and how about the Frenchman, Pavon? He surprised us all last year.
Matthieu Pavon is indeed a player to watch. His consistent performances and ability to surprise on challenging courses make him a valuable asset. He has a knack for stepping up in big tournaments, and his game could suit Torrey Pines well. Including him in your lineup could bring some solid returns.
Magnifique, merci bien.
De rien. If you have any more questions, just let me know.
D'accord.
That's a wrap for today's Award Daily Golf Bulletin. Thanks for tuning in, and a big thank you to Stoddy for his brilliant insights. Good luck with your fantasy lineups and bets, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for having me, Alieve. Good luck, everyone. Enjoy the tournament.